Hi, it's Miss Chelsea. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get started. So today I would like to build a clock, and I'm going to show you the materials that I'm going to use to build a clock. So these are some of the materials that I'm going to be using today. So I have 2 scraps of different colored paper. I've been using red and black a lot lately for different things. But you can use any paper, and it's nice to reuse some scraps that you might have. I'm also using a thumbtack, or some people call these push pins. So some of them have little handles on them, but they're kind of sharp. So when you get to the part with the thumbtack, you are going to need some help from your mommy or daddy. And then I'm also going to be using a string. We're going to use this string to find the center of our circle in a little bit. It can be any kind of string. And then just a pencil, any type of pencil, some scissors to cut our construction paper. And I'm using this little ruler just in case I want to make a straight line. I'm not sure if I'll use this, but I might use this. And then something that's a circle. It can be anything that's a circle. And the main board that I'm using is just a piece of cardboard. It's not super thick. And you want your circle that you're tracing to fit inside so that there's some space, because we're going to be writing some numbers on the outside for our minutes on the outside. So we want to leave a little bit of space all the way around. So you want your cardboard or whatever your piece is underneath to be a little bit wider than your circle. And this can be anything. This could even be paper if you'd like it to be paper. That works too. But then since we're using a push pin or a thumbtack, we need to have something to protect our space. So I have this other much thicker piece. I don't know if you can see that. Much thicker piece of cardboard. But you can use, you could probably use really, really thick felt, or a bulletin board, or just anything that can protect your workspace underneath, so that when you put the push pin down, it doesn't scratch your surface or poke through on the other side. Okay, I think, oh, there's one more piece that I forgot to mention. I think just one more. Hopefully I didn't forget anything else. And then I also am going to use a marker just so that you can see. I want to make my original lines and marks with a pencil in case I mess up, so I can erase it. And then afterwards I'm going to go over it with a darker color so that I can see it more clearly. Okay, so first I'm going to trace my circle, and I just have this plate. So I'm going to try to center it up as well as I can and just trace. And if your arm doesn't go all the way around, just switch your hand and keep going. Okay, let's see what it looks like. All right, hopefully, yeah, that shows up okay. All right, now we want to make some little marks. So we want to make one at the close to the top as we can. On a real clock, these will be perfect, but on ours, we're just gonna do the very, very best that we can. And one at the bottom. So one at the top and one at the bottom, and then one on either side. Okay, so now we have 4 marks, and we're going to need some more marks. So what I like to do to kind of help myself gauge, since we're going to need 2 more marks in each of these sections, so I'm just going to use my fingers to try to space as well as I can by my eyes. And put one here by this finger and one here by this finger. Again, these don't have to be exact for our clock. On a clock that you buy at the store or a watch, they're going to be exactly perfect and measured, but we're just going to do the best we can. And then I'm going to do that again in this section. Spread my fingers so that I can see places where it would be about even to do 2 more marks here. And I'm going to go around to the next section and repeat. 2 more marks. And finally, around the last section, our last 2 marks. Okay, so let's see how many marks we have. I'm going to put my finger here to count 1. And then I'm going to walk my finger around to count the rest and know that when I get here, that's the end, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's good. We should have 12. Okay, so let's now start writing our numbers in. So if you have a clock nearby or a watch that has like the numbers on it, you can see which number goes at the top of a clock. And that's the number 12. So we're going to just write the number 12. And I'm going to write my number 12 pretty big. Not really, not this big, but big enough to where I can see it quite clearly. And then we're just going to go around with starting with 1 for the other marks. So I'll do 1 here, and then 2. And if you're drawing on cardboard like me, your pencil might make some bumps. So just do the best you can. And then when we go over it with marker, we'll be able to see it better. And then 3. And then 4. 5. And when we get to the very bottom, that should be our 6. And we'll keep going, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Next to are 12. So it looks like my numbers started to get a little bit smaller as I went around. So if you want to make any adjustments here, if you don't like how your numbers turned out, you can erase them and then make them a little bit more how you want them. Okay, it's a little small too. Okay, so when you're happy with how all of your numbers look, you can start to go over them with your marker, just so that you can see them really, really nice and clear. And I'm actually going to go over my little marks also. And if you want, you can sing the clock song that we know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whenever I see a clock, it reminds me of that song. All right. And if you really like, you can go around your circle with your marker. I think I'm going to save that and do that one a little bit later. So now we have all of our hours drawn into our clock. So as many of you know, there are 24 hours in one day. And 12 is half of 24. So we have 12 hours, and then we have 12 more hours in one day. So in one day, the hour hand will go around this entire clock twice. Okay, and then we have another part of the clock. It's a minute hand, and it's actually longer. And it goes around a lot more. So every time that the hour hand goes one tick to the next number, the minute hand goes around the entire clock once. So it goes a lot faster. So now we're going to write our numbers for the minutes on the outside of our clock. So on a clock that you see on the wall, lots of times you won't see the minutes, and that's why I want to write them on the outside, because sometimes they're there, but most of the time they're not there. So at the very, very, very top, we're going to draw 2 zeros. And the reason is because when you hear someone say 5 o'clock, this is what you see for the o'clock part. You see 2 zeros, or you can write 2 zeros when you want to write o'clock. So it's just 2 zeros, and that 0 is a little bit small, so I'm going to fix it. So 0, 0. And then outside of the 1, we're going to write a 0 and a 5. Because when you hear 305, then you'll see this. You'll see 3 and then 05. And then outside of the 2, we're going to write 1, 0 for 10. And if you know how to count by fives, that's basically what we're going to do with our minute numbers as we go around. So each one of these is going to be going up by 5. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Okay. All right. I know I did that really, really fast. So I'm going to fill in my numbers with my marker now so that you can see them more clearly. I'm so sorry if I'm covering up what you're trying to see right now. I'm going to try to go fast so that you can see what I'm doing. And don't forget to double check your numbers before you go over them with marker. You can just do one more check and make sure that you like how they look before you put marker on top. Okay, and I think I'm gonna go around my clock now with my marker. So I'm just gonna try to connect the sections with my marker. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cover up some of the numbers again as I'm doing this part. I'll try to go quickly. Okay. So now we need to find our center point of our circle. And there's a few different ways that you can do that. I'm going to use a string to show me where the center is. So if we lay a string down, the center of the circle is going to be halfway between this line. No matter how you turn it, it's going to always be in the center. So you can lay your string across your circle at any point and then just make sure it's as close to you can to the edge on this side, and then just pinch the other side right there. And then we're just gonna fold the string in half like that. And mine's a little lucky because it makes kind of a dent in it so that I know where the fold is. And you're gonna pinch the string again at this outer point like that. And then that will show you the center. And so anywhere you place this, as long as you're pulling it tight toward the center, it should help you. And you can estimate, so you don't want to go like this because that won't show you where the center is. So let's go to the 6 here and try to point it up toward the 12 as far as we can. Okay, and you can just put your finger kind of where that is. And I'm going to use my pencil to draw a little dot right there in the center. So I'm going to check my work. I just want to see how close that is to the center. So I'm just going to do that again one more time, go through the process of going all the way across, pinch, then fold, and pinch. And then I'm going to see. Oh, pretty close. Pretty close. All right. So now let's get our hand. Our hand. It's 2 different types of hour, but so I'm going to use red for my hour hand. Oh, got 10 more minutes. Okay. So I'm going to use red for my hour hand. So I'm going to place my paper so that the bottom of the edge of my paper lines up with where the 12 is, and I want to go a little bit farther because I want my my hour hand to have a point at the end. So I'm going to make a mark. So this part's at the 12, and then I see the dot, and I'm going to go a little bit farther than my dot. Oh, here, let me make my dot darker so that you can see. Okay, so a little bit past the dot, I'm going to make a mark. And I think I want to make my hour hand about that thick. So I'm just going to make a line down here. And a line across here. And cut that out. Okay. And then I'm going to pretend, or I'll just draw it. I'm just going to make a little dot right toward the center of, let's say, of that. And then just snip off the sides like that. So it makes a little arrow. And hopefully it will cover up your dot a little bit because you want it, we're gonna need some line on this side. And I'm actually gonna flip mine over because I don't like to see the lines that I made. Okay, so there is our hour hand. So it will point to all of the hours. Okay, next we're gonna get our other color and we're gonna put it, let me find a straight edge, there we go. I'm gonna put it under the zeros because this is the minute hand and the minute hand needs to be longer and point to the minutes. So I have my paper right under the zeros and I'm gonna go a little bit past my dot again. And that line is probably very tricky for you to see. Let me see if I can do it with this. Maybe that shows up a little bit better. And I'm gonna make mine pretty much just as wide. So I'm gonna do it with pencil first so I don't write on my ruler. And I'm gonna cut that out. Okay, and again, I'm gonna pretend like, or I'm just gonna draw a little dot at the edge so that I can make my arrow. Okay, so hopefully, yes, it's longer than the red one. And I want to make it so that it doesn't cover up the numbers. So let's see. I can pull it back a little bit. Okay. So here's the part where we're going to use the thumbtack. So I'm going to get my cardboard to protect my table and put that underneath. And then I'm going to place my, actually I'll just make the hole first. So right in our center, we can push the push pin down carefully. And then it makes a nice little hole. So I'm gonna set this kind of where I want it and guess, I want it about here because this spot, you might need your parents' help for this. This part is kind of tricky to line up. So I look where the hole is, and I'm actually gonna fold it right across where the hole is. And so it made a little line, and I'll put the push pin right in the center of that line and push it through. So there's a nice little hole. And then I need to do the same with the hour hand. So it points up to the 12, and I'm gonna fold the end so that you can kind of see the dot underneath. And then I'll put the push pin right on the fold. Whoops. Or I'll drop it. Here we go. Right on there. Okay. So with the hour hand still on your push pin, you can put your minute hand underneath. And then you can put the push pin into your clock. And there is your clock. And these should spin around. You can spin them different ways. Nice. You made a clock. Oh my goodness. Or you watched making a clock so that you will absolutely know how to do it whenever you have all these materials. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.